G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for being here and watching my content. As always, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. And yes, you might find this a little bit biased because I am an Argentina fan. Apologize in advance. So yes, Nicolas Sanchez has come out of nowhere, right? They've dug him out of the underground burial, put on a jersey on him, and yeah, came out with a clutch kick to put this one out of reach from the Samoans. I was super impressed because Sanchez has been in and out of, on and off the field, in and out of the Argentinian side. He hasn't started for Argentina he barely started for Argentina in the last couple of years, and he's just been injured pretty much every time he's on the field. And really, I wasn't even expecting him to get any game time for Argentina. And Michael Cheika surely did the calculations, figured out that he's still going to be good enough to do some things, and brought him onto the field in the clutch, dying stage of the game. He showed, man, why he was one of the best in the world for Argentina. He did it. He did it for his country. He did it for all the Argentinians fans in the stadium. And man, this was a really tight kick as well. It was, 50 meters out, and the team brought on the wrong tee. Yeah, he was like, no, that's the wrong tee, while the shot clock was running. And I was sitting there going, oh boy, this is going to be really, really clutch. Like literally the Argentinians were falling apart at the end of the game, right? People were dropping the balls left and right, and it was looking at the massive momentum swing for the Samoans. The bench was coming off, making huge impacts, putting a lot of pressure on Argentina in the breakdowns, in the scrummaging, everywhere in the game, and it was just looking like this game's going to fall apart right under the Pumas' nose. And yeah, this kick was pretty much as important as you can get, and the tee was the wrong one, so he was screaming at the tee boy and then quickly run back out and grab a new tee up, and he had about 25 seconds to line this one up and kick it over. And Nick Berry reminded him that you're under the shot clock whilst the tee was getting replaced, and Nicolas Sanchez only took 5 seconds to line himself up. Really had a massive conversation with himself whilst preparing for this kick. I don't know what he's talking about. He's probably saying, just having a little pep talk to himself. And then he slots this one right down the center, just over the bar as well. Like he barely cleared the distance. And man, that was so close. That was one of the clutchest moments Nicolas Sanchez. I mean, he's put out a lot of clutch moments in the past, but to put in perspective for how long he hasn't played. And for, I can't even remember the last time he could kick a goal for Argentina. It would have been like, at least 12 months, if not longer ago. And to kick such a difficult kick right at the limit of his range, under the shot clock, with the tee being the wrong one, having to be replaced. And man, that was impressive. Nicolas Sanchez, hats off to you, mate. So yeah, with that being said, this game, I thought the Argentinians was really clinging on to the onslaught that the Samoans was putting upon them. The Samoans was really, really surprisingly good with the scrummaging. Obviously, they have some very experienced former international All Blacks coming back. Charles Fa'amuina, Marco Alatoa. These guys are absolute world-class scrummagers, and they obviously have given a lot of training to the younger players, the newer players. And yeah, the scrummaging was surprisingly much better than what everybody was expecting. Thomas Gaggio once again exposed in the loose air position a bit in the first half. Second half, the scrum was even better with obviously Alatoa coming on and Fa'amuina, and it was just I did not expect how good the Samoan scrum was. Apparently, the weight difference was like 50 kilograms against Samoa or something like some outrageous number, like massively outweighed by the Argentinians. But yeah, just techniques. And I guess hit the gym really hard and get that leg drive going. And yeah, and it does look like the especially the way the front row is set up. The Samoans look much tighter in the tie 5, whereas the Argentinians just look a little bit, need a bit of work. Need a bit of work there for Argentina, especially Gaggio. He's a great player for carrying the ball, but his scrummaging has just really not been world class, to be honest. Needs a lot of work there. And with that being said, the lineouts was pretty one-sided for Argentina. The Samoans had their own unforced errors, and then obviously Argentina was able to spoil a couple lineouts here and there as well. I do think that one of the big issues with Argentina, and this could be a consideration for Michael Cheika to bring Nicolas Sanchez back as like a starting player potentially, or maybe have him on the field a bit earlier, is that Carreras is really losing a lot of confidence these days. He's had a few shocking games now where, you know, it kind of all started when he played in the second test match against Springboks this year, where he just looked visibly too slow in his decision making, and the Springboks rush defense was just, you know, giving him like way too much problem. And so this game, once again, it looked like he was hesitant on making his decisions. There was a number of balls in like, you know, prime real estate locations, like inside the Samoan 22, where he just needed to pass the ball, and he was like hesitant in making the decision and got himself caught into the tackle a number of times, and that showed like lack of confidence for me, and not to mention that there were times where he's just not really picking his options. He's just kind of like, you know, he was just kind of like throwing the pass and not really thinking about where the ball should be going, sort of thing. It's just, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with Carreras, but he looks really off for me once again this game. And as a result, this game was a very big stalemate. At times, Samoans was belting the Argentinians, and then like neither team was able to find any sort of openings in the match. And obviously, the big playmaker, Sopwanga for the Samoans, was the former All Black. Obviously, was not available for this game, so Lele Afano has to do pretty much all the work. And I thought the Samoa number 9, Faf de Klerk, played really, really well this game. And you know, and I thought that him, like that energy that he actually brings to the game was something that, you know, Samoa kind of like really makes, you know, at times really made the difference for the Samoan team. And the goal kicking, Christian Leniafano missed a couple. Bofeli missed one really long one from like 50 out, but wasn't perfect for either teams. And both teams that surprisingly were bad at the kickoff. So both teams were in a situation where, you know, like kicking the ball out on the full. Just the kickoffs for some reason was really untidy for both teams. And I think finally we'll have to, you know, talk about this guy again, Mr. Nick Berry of Australia. I thought I thought a lot of the calls was very like loose, and I thought a lot of the calls were how should I put this? A lot of the 50-50 calls just straight up went for Samoa's way. Yeah, I thought the referee decisions were really like you can argue they were correct, but it was just like so 50-50 at times, and it was just like every time when there's a 50-50 sort of call, Nick Barry went for Samoa, and there was and again there was a lot of little stuff I've noticed, like there was just in scrummaging I've seen Charles Faumuina, I think he plays loose head. Yeah. Put his hand on the ground in the scrum. That should be an immediate penalty. Like, and Nick Berry just kind of let it play it on. Like, yeah, I just, yeah, like it's like, okay, that's not really, you know, it's almost like he just kind of like ignored it. Just stuff like that. Really can't. And then there was one where Faf de Klerk from the Samoans, like it was like a little chip throw, and Malia scooped up the ball, and Faf de Klerk like landed on Malia and hit him in the head. Should have been a penalty. And Nick Berry was like, oh, he was falling. But still, he hit him in the head. Like, it's still, you know, reckless from Faf de Klerk. And, this guy, Faf de Klerk, right here. And, you know, it's like, yeah, Nick, I can see your argument, but that's just not by the books, correct? So the Argentinians look very unhappy about that as well. And I was a bit, you know, like, ugh, what's going on here, Mr. Nick Berry? So yeah, that's my little bit of spiel about Nick. So let's have a look at some of the match stats of this game. Argentina, 1 try each, really tight game. Run meter wise, the Argentinians was actually in control of the game very largely. There were a lot of penalties given out against Samoa, and Argentina was not able to close that into any meaningful tries. Was able to just walk away penalties at times. And yeah, 388 run meters to 132. 130 carries for Argentina, 58 more than doubled, and 35 defenders speared 16 turnovers conceded against Argentina, 17 against Samoa. Tackles made, 79 tackles made for Argentina, only 9 missed tackles, and it was looking everything was gonna get really bad at the end before before Sanchez kind of like stabilized everything with a goal kick. And like you can see here, like 35 missed tackles, 139 tackles from Samoa, and Argentina only managed 1 try. Yeah, there's something wrong with the playmaker there. Kicks in play, 21-22, quite even in both sides. Goal kicking was, yeah, definitely better for Boffelli. Liliafano's technique, especially when you're in the long range, he tries to push it a bit too hard, end up like just like skewing the ball a little bit. He did manage to hit the ball on the crossbar one time, which was quite impressive, and he went over anyway. So that was quite nice to see. Lineouts, 16 lineouts, perfect for Argentina. 3 lineouts lost for Samoa. There was a couple of steals, and there were just like untidiness. I think there was like a no straight row as well, a throw for Samoa. Penalties conceded, 11 against Argentina, 13 against Samoa. There was 1 yellow card right from the kickoff, essentially, taking a player out in the sky. I thought this, yeah, could have been, yeah. I mean, the bunker looked at it, said it was a bit of an accident. Malia, I think it was, landed on his side. But yeah, very close to a red card, this one. And Nick Berry, despite giving up, warnings to Samoa, never issued a yellow card for repeated penalties. So Argentina may have let that off the hook a little bit, could have put on a bit more pressure. But then again, the Argentinian pressure wasn't just clinical enough. Like during the period of yellow card, Argentina was barely able to score a try, like with an extra man on the field, and the whole 10 minutes kind of just ran up without too much of an issue for Samoa. They did, like I said, they did consider try right at the end, but mostly it wasn't too much of an issue. You barely noticed there was a deficit in player count against Samoa. So yeah, let's quickly go through some of the key moments of the game. 8 minutes into the game, like I said, there was a yellow card on the board coming to the end of it. Argentina spread the ball on one side of the field, and then just everybody had hands all the way to the left-hand side, and then everybody had hands all the way to the right-hand side to Boffelli, who cuts in field, goes in for the set for first points for the ball, 7 points to 0. 24 minutes is again, there was a offside penalty. Argentina kicks 3 points, 10 points to 0. 27 points. Samoa gets the first penalty. Liliafano kicks this one, 10 points to 3. I think there might be one before this. Oh, no, this was the first one actually. 33 minutes into the game, there was a lot of Argentinian pressure right in front of the goalpost. A lot of penalties given out, and I thought maybe they could have pressured a bit more. But yeah, Argentina decides to take 3 points. 13 points to 3. And that's half time. 13 points to 3 was a halftime score. Second half starts again. The Argentinians was able to apply a lot of pressure against Samoa. Was just like not really clinical enough. Oh, I forgot to mention, this was a bit of rain going on, so it was really wet conditions. Maybe that is probably one of the reasons why there was so much lackluster tries for both teams. But this was, again, Argentina was putting on pressure. They got the warning they wanted from the referee, and they just went for the 3. 16 points to 3. 52 minutes in. Just after this penalty, this penalty was taken, I think around 60 minutes mark, Argentina gets another penalty. This was really far out, like 50 meters out, and this was a penalty that, should they have gotten it, it would have been, basically 19 points. Would have been like, they would have been, Samoa had to score basically 3 times to win the game, which would have put the game like very difficultly out of reach. But Boffelli just missed it, so that was really like sigh of a relief for all the Samoans. 71 minutes into the game, there was a really weird situation where the ball gets stripped by the Argentinians, and I'm pretty sure that was still a knock on because yes, it was stripped out, but the Samoans still had the last touch on the ball before the ball fell on the ground. If it's a clean strip where you just get ripped out, but if the Samoan guys was kind of like still had possession and then drops it after the strip, which is kind of what happened, I thought this should have been a knock on, but Nick Berry said it was a strip. So the ball kind of comes out. It was chipped forward by, Samoans Faf de Klerk, and then there was a big chase. Malia gets the ball in front of his goal line, and he gets tackled in goal. And in the process, the Faf de Klerk hits Malia in the head. Nick Berry says it was falling and no penalty, and it was a scrum for Samoa. And again, we know that Samoa's scrum was really strong. They go for the scrum, they get the penalty, and they're just piling in pressure. Eventually, they knock on the ball, but there was a penalty going anyway, so they just take a quick tab, the Samoans, and just kept on piling in, and eventually, a few phases later, they get their first try on the ball. 16 points to 10 with about 10 minutes left. So this was looking really, really dicey for Argentina. And sure enough, things got really worse. Argentina was like building pressure inside the Samoan half. Augustin Creevy, the veteran, drops the ball. Yeah, that was looking for a penalty there, but they're not really not gonna get that. So there was a scrum. The ball goes out back to the Samoan side. They kick the ball down the field, and then Malia gets the ball, start running back, and then he gets tackled. The Samoa number 12 infringed at the breakdown. He was trying to use his. He had his hand in the rack in the breakdown. Gets penalized, and Nicolas Sanchez steps up to the plate, kicks a 50-minute goal. Wrong tee. Only had about 20 seconds to 25 seconds or so to kick this one. Still lands it. Entire stadium, Argentinians goes crazy. 19 points to 10 puts this one completely out of reach for Samoa. Just before full time, there was again just Nick Berry being really, really bad. So there was a advantage. I think it was a penalty advantage. Yeah, there was a penalty advantage for Argentina. The ball gets like chipped over the top, and the Samoa player drops the ball. At the same time when the Samoan dropped the ball, Nick Berry blows the whistle back for the penalty. Even though I think it was Mateus scoops out the ball, and it looked like it was basically away. And the Argentinians like, where's the penalty advantage? Like, what? Why did you call us back? There was no infringement from us. And Nick Berry was just like, oh, sorry, I didn't expect the Samoans to drop the ball. Like, it's actually just bad from Nick Berry. Again, it's just really, yeah. I think that Nick Berry has a lot of explaining to do with some of these decisions in this game. And and that was the game that ended 19 points to 10. There was a lot of decisions in this game where Nick Berry was just like 50-50 and just went Samoa's way. And I don't know what's going on here, man. Like, Nick Berry was pretty bad his last performance as well. But it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on this game, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later tonight for the big match, South Africa versus Ireland. Thanks for watching, and thanks to everyone who support me on Patreon, channel members, and anyone who donates money to buy me coffee. Really appreciate it. Plenty of coffee sitting here, well and truly stocked up. So yes, appreciate that. Thanks for the help, and have a good week. See you guys later. Cheers.